Last week, Joe Buck told us he just wasn't interested anymore. The network voice of Major League Baseball and NFL football on Fox, in an interview with ESPN Radio's Colin Cowherd, said with a serious tone, "Sitting down and watching a sporting event is just not part of my day. It's just not part of my night. But I'll be honest with you, watching The Bachelorette is." Yes, Buck has stirred the pot before with such indifferent and unconventional on-air statements, enlarging the camps of supporters and detractors. And again, he pays the price. Lambasted by media critics, trumpeting the blogosphere to be scolded by fans, and leaving others wondering why he even climbs into a broadcast booth anymore. But wait, there is a method to the madness. You see, Joe Buck inherited many things from his famous sports broadcasting father, Jack Buck. Among them, a commanding voice, a love and respect for the art of good sports announcing, and a whimsical sense of humor that sneaks up on you like a David Letterman top 10 list. Throughout the day, many forget about laughter. A good joke, the shrewd ability to break up the monotony. The late Baltimore broadcast legend Chuck Thompson once told me, to stay in this business of sports announcing, you've got to have a sense of humor. Buck later admitted his remarks on Cowherd's radio show were more tongue-in-cheek than nuts and bolts, and I, for one, believe him. His track record speaks volumes. Success has brought Buck fame and fortune. In 1996, he became the youngest announcer to call a World Series. He was only 26. A few years later, Buck added the Super Bowl to his sparkling resume, barely over the age of 30. But that was then. This is now. Something else he shared with Cowherd on that interview has been shamefully missed in all of the recent hoopla. "I'm realistic," he said. "I know how my life has changed. The game of the week just isn't as special or unique as it used to be. That's just the way it is." Admittedly, Joe Buck is no longer a kid. One could call him a veteran. Spectacles wrapping his eyes, a receding hairline, an actual interest outside of sports. How unusual. How sinful. He and writing partner Paul Rudd are in development with Fox on a new comedy talk show called What Else? The Joe Buck Show. He's cut back on network assignments and actually left the 2008 Cardinals broadcast booth without a buck behind the mic for the first time in over 50 years. Then again, I haven't even mentioned his most challenging distraction from sports, his wife of over 10 years and their 2 daughters. Jack Buck also called World Series, 11 in all, Super Bowls, 18 if you're counting, studio shows, and even the Stanley Cup Finals, becoming an institution in St. Louis and an icon around the country. But the road destroyed one marriage and lost immeasurable hours, days, and weeks from the people that missed him the most. "I don't know who had a more tiresome wall-to-wall schedule than my father," Joe Buck told the New York Times in a 2007 interview. "I know what it was like to be a kid in that situation. He was gone a lot. He needed to be. I understood that. So did my mom. Because my career has gone the way it's gone, I don't have to go wall to wall. While I'm deathly afraid of overexposure, I'm more afraid of underexposure at home with my wife and girls." As much as Buck clearly enjoys a good laugh, the one thing he seemingly won't joke about is family. He's proven himself in the family business of broadcasting many times over. Now, above everything, Buck wants to prove himself in the business of family, and of watching less sports on TV, sounding detached and uninspired makes him a better husband and father. Who are we to quibble? I do admit that over the years I found Buck's flippant style and biting charm a bit annoying if not transparent. But in an odd way, I find inspiration in his approach to family and kids, only because I too am a huge sports fan, married with children of my own. And if I soon find myself viewing more program hours of The Bachelorette than innings of a baseball game, I have no doubt that would make my wife very, very happy. Then again, fatherhood might be a completely different story. For Sportscaster Chronicles, this is John Lewis.